Well, Rick, just coming out of practice today, you guys looking back at last game as well. You got one left before Christmas. Where are you at? How are you feeling?
Well, can't wait for Christmas. It'll be a fun Christmas. Yeah, like I said, like I had to regurgitate what I said last game. We've got to clean up the odd man rushes. There's a lot of good things about what we did yesterday, but obviously there's key moments that we weren't there for. And but there was a lot of good things. We got a game tomorrow before Christmas, so it's a big game for us.
When it comes to the penalty kill, you guys have killed off 17 of the last 19. What does that say about what this group has done with it?
Well, it's been great. PK's been really hanging in. Saying that, I'm glad you brought it up. We got to stop taking penalties. It's too many penalties. We got to start taking pressure off ourselves. You can't give power plays, especially early in the game, because then, like I said, some guys sit the bench, they don't penalty kill, then they're sitting for 4 minutes. So we have to clean up the discipline. But when we do have a penalty, the PK's been there for us this year.
First pairing that's going out there with you got Bluger and Suter. It seems like they start most of your penalty kills. What can you say about the way they've played?
Really good all year. They've got a connection, chemistry. So yeah, they've really helped us on the PK.
You said you didn't want to give up on Hoaglander. It looks like he's going to get a look tomorrow.
I've never given up on him. No. Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Well, I think for Hoggy, like I said, he trying to find an identity. What is identity? Like he's got to get back to that hard forechecking guy. And then when you have the puck, he could make some plays. I think he's not seeing some stuff that he should see, and I think maybe that's because he's nervous. He doesn't want to make a mistake, and that's what happens to players. It happens to all of us. I played the game too, where you're nervous, and you don't really want the puck. I want him to have the puck because he can make some plays, but I think he's good around the net. He's got to get. He even said to me, he goes, "Tocchet, I got to get to the net more." I think he's playing a little on the outside.
He seems like when he's on his game, the other team wants to murder him. Almost exactly like
Garland.
Yeah.
Like Sherwood. Take a page of those guys. Get in the action, be a pain in the butt. That's a good point.
When you look at tape, what do you see in Celebrini playing with Toffoli? Pretty dynamic.
Yeah, I watched him last night against Edmonton. I've watched him this year. I mean, it was 18. I mean, the kid's a player. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
How do you game plan for a guy like that?
Well, it's like the other, they're great players on the other team. You got to just make sure that you can't give them odd man rushes. You got to stay above. When there's a chance to go through a guy like that, you got to go through him. Or make sure you know where he is. I think that's really what scan the ice, things like that.
That kind of focus and make sure you don't lose him.
Yeah, it's just like anybody. You play Jack Eichel, same thing. You play, Stützle. You got to know where these guys are on the ice, and if you have them, make sure you have them. Don't puck watch, things like that.
You noted JT's mistake on the shorthanded goal, and he acknowledged that with us. He also said, there's about this story. Yeah. He's got enough things on his mind right now. It's so unusual to be dealing with a player who's come back from personal leave, and we don't know what that was for. But do you feel, as a coach, he's still working his way back through whatever the issues are?
Yeah, I think a lot of players have a little different plates, a lot of things on their plate. And, I was, as a coach, you always try to coach the way you want the player to leave the rink mind-free. Whether, the coach wants me to do this or my line mates or whatever, I think when you leave cloudy all the time, it affects your play. So each player deals with a lot of different things, and it's our job to create a safe environment for everybody. Then you deal with it.
Did you expect that after the time he missed that he's probably not going to be vintage JT Miller when he comes back?
Well, I think there's been some good things. I think, shutting down some top, McKinnon and Barkov, that's a positive. Is there other parts of the game that he has to clean up? Yeah. Play without the puck, a little bit of focus. But like I said, you're dealing with stuff every day, and, we got to try to help all our players in the same thing. But, like I said, it's about the crest. It's not about any individual player. It's always about the crest, always.
Rick, you talked about that a little bit yesterday, about how when a guy's struggling offensively, you want him to work on other parts of his game. When you're going through that process and working on the other parts of your game, making sure you're forechecking and all that, when you see success in those areas, does that kind of just bring confidence that can bring back that offense?
Yeah, no, I think when I know what you're saying. I think when you're playing a good team game, and then after the game you feel good about, everybody feels good about the game. We know we need certain guys to score. We know our best players got to play the best. Most nights, hopefully you get that. But if they're not, you still got to stay with a team identity. And I think that sometimes we let that slip away for whatever reason. And I don't like bringing up last year. I think we played our team identity most nights. We've been a little bit sporadic this year. It's not about individuals. And when individuals struggle, sometimes they got to hop into the identity, into the crest thing. It's not, don't worry about you're not scoring. Make sure you're doing the right things. Changing right, short shifts. If it's your turn to go to the net, go to the net. Like, you got to participate. That's the only way you get out of slumps. That's I've been involved in hockey for a lot of years. That's the only way you get out of slumps. You can't do it on yourself or on your own.
Just the housekeeping day off for Quinn.
Yeah, maintenance. Yeah, maintenance. Get him some rest.
Along those lines,
How fine a line is that, though, where this organization's talked about practice habits, and he is such a leader, and I get giving him rest so that he's ready for games, but also like how tough it is not to have him out there with the group on a day after a loss.
Well, we've played every other night. Like the last 2-3 weeks, back to back. A little small travel, whatever. But I think he's practiced a few times. But a guy that highly skilled like that, no other teams have the same thing. I'm sure. But Huggy wants to go on the ice. He wants to work on his game. So I just think there's certain times when you got to keep him off the ice and rest him.
doing things away from the puck. You talked about different players. Pedersen leads the league in drawing penalties. What does that mean to you as a coach?
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, keep going to the hole, keep going to the net, try to move your feet, and that's a positive. We sometimes with Petey, you look at not so much the negative, like some of the stuff that you got to do. That's a positive. So why is he drawing penalties? Is he going to the areas? Continue to do that.
You thought of playing them together 5-on-5?
Who's that?
Reuniting the Lotto line?
No.
Or you like what PGD games brought in that?
I've played them together sometimes. Yeah, it's not about No, he's got Jake DeBrus, and I've played him with Garland. It's not about players. It's about your game. Not saying PD. I'm saying individual. It's not about switching lines every 2 seconds.
And balance.
Yeah.
And
We're a 4-line team. We're not. Yeah.